right, hi everyone. Thank you very much for having me, and appreciate you staying just before the drinks. Excellent. So I hope everyone's ready. I'm going to really crush through a lot of slides here. So you've got to have your phones ready if you want to take photos, okay? It's going to be quick. All right, a quick introduction on me. I'm Alex Challans. I'm the CEO of Resonance. That's the owner of the Quantum Insider. We also cover the space market, climate tech market, and AI market. Everything that you're going to see today is underpinned by our platform, which covers the total quantum market. And recently, we worked with some of our partners to do a report on the state of quantum. So some of the insights you'll be seeing today as well are underpinned by that. So I'm going to quickly canter through some investment trends. Now, this is just one of the outputs from our platform. One of the key things we're seeing is that, the investment trend doesn't look very good, does it? That looks quite concerning. We've gone from 21, 22, a very large amount of funding, and then 2023, not so great. So what's the kind of story there? Well, sorry about my awful animations. There you go. Do we have a quantum winter? Absolutely no. Stop saying we've got a quantum winter. We do not have that, okay? So there is a broad consensus across everyone we've spoken to who kind of knows what they're talking about, in my view, that it's just not the case. And we'll show you some graphs in a second. And I like what Alexi says from Moderna. It's just getting a little bit colder. So does the data back that up? So this was in some of our reports as well. So I'd just like to draw your attention, or I've got a pointer. No, I'm not going to risk it. Where the money fell was in the SPACs, right? So we had a load of SPACs in the US, right? That fell. In Europe, in APAC, investment was pretty okay in going from 2022 to 2023. Now I'm going to walk over here. Then we've also got here, yes, we've got a fall in capital into quantum companies, but also a fall overall in the VC market. This was a VC winter, not a quantum winter. Now, I'm going to talk you through the story of billions of dollars. We don't really understand. I mean, I certainly didn't until I worked in finance. What $1 billion means? It just doesn't. What is that? So let's try and understand this in context. A large private capital raise is right at the bottom over here. Let's play where the kind of VCs work in this market. IonQ's cash balance alone is about $1 billion. Private capital at its peak was $2 billion. And then we have this big question mark around what IBM, AWS, Saudi Aramco, some of the most valuable companies in the world, what are they doing? And then you have these massive numbers. We had some great talks from the Japanese representatives, and that's one element of this. And you've got international investment from all over the world, and that is completely dwarfing VC investment. So if you could take away one thing, VCs are very important. I used to be one, but governments are going to be more important in this market. So what's happening so far in 2024? Not a lot, apparently. There you go. So every time I do these slides, this is taken straight from our platform, some very selfish people go and raise $50 million. And so I'm missing a load of data because I sent this a couple of weeks ago. But you can see it's quite a healthy environment. We've had Quantinuum raise 300. We've got a whole load of smaller rounds as well, Dirac in Australia. And then you have Multiverse yesterday, 25 million, Maybell, 25 million. There is still lots of money going into this market. Quite exciting to see. And the market is growing up. We've got M&A. Mergers and acquisitions. So Orca earlier this year acquired a photonics company in the US, and Inflection decided to buy 2 silicon photonics companies at the start of the year. It's quite an interesting indication of a market maturing. So I'm going to say something a little bit difficult here. The numbers everyone quotes, and we had it in the last one, 22% annual growth. This is not great, okay? Why? Hyperion do a wonderful job, okay? They do some serious research to work out how much revenue is in the market. It's a survey. And so you get to this amazing conclusion that there's $1 billion of revenue in this market. Where on earth is this coming from? Where's $1 billion of revenue? Where is it? Well, it's definitely not here. So you can see D-Wave, Rigetti, IonQ, and QCI. Okay, these are public companies. I'm not picking them out to be mean. Like, this is just what I can see publicly. So you can go into their financials and see where the money is. And you've got bookings numbers, which is forward-looking, and then that turns to revenue. And IonQ is leading the pack with 22 million. But it takes a lot of money to get this revenue. That you've got huge teams, you've got incredible amounts of investment into infrastructure, into technology. So $1 billion, we've got 22, maybe 40 million there. Where's the rest of it? Where's it gone? Who am I pointing at? Oh, sugar. Well, on the last side, what it showed is that it's actually a whole ecosystem in quantum. And there was a bit of our taxonomy, which is basically hardware components. That's how people are counting this hundreds of millions of revenue, is because companies like Bluefors and Oxford Instruments are selling large dilution fridges. These are expensive pieces of kit, and this is all public information you can find. And that's been double counted. When you've got these POC projects that are happening, you've got BMW working with some provider, whoever it is, right? That's 5 million, then it's counted again, and it's counted again as it moves down the value chain. So that $1 billion, it's really helpful that Hyperion does, because it shows that kind of growth rate, and it shows like a sentiment of how it's growing. But take it with a monumental shovel of salt. So what do we need to look at here? Oh my God, why did I do animations? Sorry, guys. Well, where's the money? Where's it coming from? Well, it's coming from government. So what we have here is a report in our platform that you can download. And we basically went through every single sale of a quantum processing unit. And this is one of our vendor analysis reports. And then obviously on the news site, you can actually see this all for free. You can start to see organizations procuring quantum computers. So EuroHPC, you've got the Germans in DLR, you've got the UK, who've also been looking at this as well, Australia, which is trying to buy a US quantum computer. Lots of interesting things going on. So, okay, so we've got 40 million from public companies. We've got hardware providers. That kind of makes sense. We know that there's some money coming through from government. So where is the revenue? So I'm going to take you on a journey of a quantum company, right? So you start here, you do some novel research, which is fabulous work going on in the labs that I don't understand. Then you kind of develop a usable quantum computing as an engineering experiment, and you test it with researchers. Maybe you deploy it and test toy problems. And then you can do all sorts of things, and everyone's trying to work out how to do this right now. Do you engage by getting people to access it for a low price in the cloud? Do you engage corporate end users? Do you do it in a on-premise deployment? Nobody knows. And what do you charge for it? Do you say it one-off? Do you say, hey, it's $10 million? Or do you say, well, actually, we're going to share in the fruits of the stuff that we do? Is it that we're going to share in the fact that we've made this incredible new drug and that's worth $2 trillion? What's the revenue model there? We don't know yet. So, what am I looking at the moment? I keep coming back to it. It's governments. $40 to $50 billion of committed government funding. There's lots of questions. That range is because of China, if anyone was wondering. We don't know. It's not 15, we're kind of making up that number. And this is across 33 governments with publicly disclosed technology initiatives. And that 40 to 50 billion doesn't always include kind of defense money. So I'd see that as a lower estimate. And what does this mean? It means that this money is kind of funneling through the ecosystem. It isn't going out this. I see some quantum startups in the room. You can't just go, hey, can I have some money, please? You've got to go through these programs. So you've got to maybe apply to grants. You've got to do this stuff. But there's also this other element that's coming in, which is these test centers. So in the UK, where you can probably hear I'm from, you've got the National Quantum Computing Centre. So part of the 2.5 billion budget's 100 million into a physical centre. You've got the House of Quantum in Delft. I'm just at Sherbrooke in Canada. That money is flowing through into these initiatives. And it's where people are starting to test quantum. Okay, I told you I was going to go all over the place and give you lots of different things. Quantum and AI. How many of you think quantum is relevant for AI or AI for quantum? Hands up. Okay. Good. Well, let's see what the experts said, and I'm sure there's many in the room here. So what we're hearing at the moment when we talk to the market is that quantum machine learning should be continued to be explored, but if you really want to start a fight between researchers, just say quantum machine learning is going to be a big thing, and you'll have all sorts of opinions. What we're seeing is AI is cannibalizing attention away from quantum. You saw that in the investment trends as well. But I really want to flag this point. The rise of AI has highlighted the importance of preparing for technology early. Every single large corporate I'm speaking to at the moment, if they're not fully in AI, is worrying that they're not fully in AI and they're trying to catch up. And this is a subtle point which I really want to flag as well. Each could help the other. Quantum computing is seen as a potential complement to AI. Quantum to accelerate machine learning, have your argument over it. AI to support the challenge of building QCs, so using it for error correction. Use cases. What are we hearing about this? Now, I imagine a lot of you have heard today lots of stuff around, we're doing simulation, we're doing quantum chemistry security. I'm not going to go into too much of that. I think you guys have heard it enough. We're nearing the end of the day, nearly the weekend. Why did I do it in that order? There you go. Experts are really stressing that use cases will be a marathon, not a sprint. We're trying to work this out. We still haven't quite worked it out. We only have a couple of algorithmic primitives. Right, we're still trying to work out how we do algorithms at all. But it's universally recognized by experts that we need to start testing stuff. And we need to start having better metrics to compare this. Shameless plug number 1. We're supporting Airbus and BMW with the Quantum Computing Challenge. So for anyone in the room who's looking to experiment with quantum technology, I'd really recommend you come and find out more about this. I'm going to skip over a bit. Your submissions are due at the end of April. There's 150,000 euros of prize money, and frankly, the most important thing is the opportunity to align with big corporates who take quantum really seriously. So I'm going to give you a second if you want to scan. There you go. Excellent. All right, there you go. You can message me afterwards if you want this. Good. How am I doing for time?
More on. I think you have the clock in front of you.
Okay, good. Oh, God. All right. I'll be quick. So, before I say, because I'm not an expert, I'm just going to, wrote off what everyone else has said. What are people saying on Outlook? Well, we spoke to people from the Federal Reserve, HSBC, Dell, and there's some really interesting themes that came out of it. On-premise versus cloud is a really key debate. You've got companies who are fully on-prem looking at cloud. You've got those who are in cloud who are now deploying on-premise. And why? They're just trying to find the route to revenue. It's that line I drew before. People are starting to realize that it's very important to have on-premise deployments around data security. If you're trying to do drug discovery, anything with private confidential data, it's going to be hard to send that in the cloud to different countries, etc. Quantum computing's cost. Has anyone heard of a company called NVIDIA? Put your hand up. Yes. So we have a problem here. NVIDIA is absolutely flying. We've got this. If we're trying to beat GPUs, we're trying to beat the cutting edge of CPUs. We've got this gradient to beat. So quantum has got to overtake a really hard moving, aggressively moving target. And so what people like McKenna at HSBC are looking at is trying to work out at what point does it start to save me some money? What point does this start to actually help me? And it's a really difficult thing to do. People are starting to get quantum ready in organizations. I think you've heard this today. There's plenty of end users who are taking this very seriously. They're doing proof of concept, trying to work it out. That, I think, is going to continue. And as I asked everyone this year, are you worried? Are you worried about your teams being shut down? There are teams being shut down, that is happening. But actually, I think on balance, we're seeing more and more enterprise users. I think when we first started tracking it, there was 150 in our platform. I think there's now 350 enterprise users. Some of those, yes, they've shut down the divisions, reduced funding, thrown it into AI, but I think it's a pretty healthy market. And then lots of people are talking about hybrid classical quantum solutions, and I think a lot of this is just trying to show use cases earlier on. Now, I'm just going to be ready to be pilloried here. So there is no such thing as quantum hype. Well, there is, but let's not worry too much about it. Why? Well, the hype train has steamed through. You saw the 2020, 2021 numbers, 2022, relatively huge amounts of investment going in, 1% of the total VC market. So what I like to do is, what is the cutting edge, or we like to think the cutting edge, and Y Combinator looking at? Can anyone spot quantum? We've got climate tech, defense tech, everyone likes that, machine, lots of AI stuff, but quantum isn't here. The hype train has steamed through, and I think this is a good thing. I think there's going to be less attention with people who don't understand it and more attention on building the technology, and that's really exciting for this industry. So, just to wrap up, and I'm going to give you a couple of minutes back, If you're interested in learning more about this kind of stuff, we cover all these emerging technologies. I hope you like to see we cover it in a little bit of a more gregarious way, and we try not to take ourselves too seriously. We own several intelligence platforms which you can use to understand and track these markets. We are, half our team are developers tracking everything that's going on in the market. So I'm going to be a bit cheeky because I saw some of the work going around supply chain in the various organizations. We've done a huge amount of it as a private company, and we've literally looked at every single entity. We track like 1,200 quantum companies. Here you go. Every data point you can. We've got every funding round you can think of. We connect up to thousands of sources, and we're structuring this data every single day. And like everyone else, yes, we are using AI to help us do this. So if you're interested in learning more about quantum and getting stuck in, and you want to track who are the end users in the market, what is the supply chain looking like, please look here. We have this massive database. We track every company, who they're partnering with, who they're funded by, what organizations they're part of. Have a look at this and you'll see it. And then we also, given that we own a whole media asset, we take it very seriously what is happening in the news. So we're trying to summarize all the time what is going on in this market. And we're using a lot of tools just to make sure we can cut through the noise. So we, for our clients, we're showing what are the important pieces of news around quantum every single day. And then I'll stop selling my stuff. And we work with organizations like the British government to help them with their strategy. There you go. And if you want to have a look more, that's my second shameless plug. Have a look. Be delighted to share more with you. And I will welcome any questions that you may have. Thank you so much for your time.